Hello fellow space engineers, this is Marcelo from ACFM Gaming, and today we're going to talk about the LCU Mk.1. The letters LCU stand for Landing Craft Utility, and in naval classifications is a craft that can go from a larger ship into the shore to drop off vehicles. The design that we're presenting here is basically a large-scale dropship. It is capable of flying both in and out of an atmosphere, and also it can operate on moons. Now, for that reason, this craft has a combination of both turbine engines and ion engines. For planetary lift, it has 4 large turbine engines. And for liftoff on moons, it has 2 large ion engines, supported by 4 smaller ones. Now, the main design characteristic of this craft is its high volume cargo hold. And we decided to prioritize volume over cargo capacity because we wanted to bring in heavy equipment that was already made. For example, atmospheric fighters or land vehicles, like in this case. Now, the main inspiration for this craft is actually real-life cargo planes and also the LCAC hovercraft, which is used to bring tanks and other types of military land vehicles from amphibious assault ships into the shoreline. Now, it ended up looking similar to the Dragon gunship from the movie Avatar, but the original inspiration that I tried to follow for this dropship was the dropship from the classic game Ground Control. Although that design had gates that opened to the sides, that would have made this ship way too big. So I decided to go with a rear opening compartment, like I just showed you, just also to be able to drop, to do the low altitude drops that you saw in the introduction to this video. Now, I tried to follow some design characteristics that I actually feel comfortable with. I managed to achieve that thanks to Seth, who is the creator of the Ganymede Extraction Consortium faction. He helped me a lot trying to figure out the weight and load capacities that this ship can handle, and also designing features like this. For example, we're talking about turbine engines, and it doesn't make sense that you can just place them like this way, for example, which I may need to correct it, like right close to another one of them or right against the wall. So I wanted this to look in a way that it would perform, let's say, in a realistic scenario. So that's why we have these slopes here, and also these bends. Let's use the spectator camera to go in. As you can see, this gives a hint that the turbines are actually sucking air from this graded surface here. Okay, that's enough for design. Now let's give you an interior tour. The initial design of this dropship had no landing gears in mind, but after some rigorous testing of this particular prototype in our dedicated server, we decided to actually include them. Now, this poses the problem of not being able to get to it from land, but at the same time, we discovered that any ship that you land on a planet at this point in multiplayer or in a dedicated server is actually going to try to fall through. And maybe the ship won't fall through the planet, but if you try to stand on a ship that is landed on a surface of a planet, your character will fall through. So the idea here is that you will only need to touch down for a few moments, or maybe not touch down at all, and just tilt the entire fuselage of the craft with the nose pointing up a little, and then you will be able to unload the cargo, or do the low altitude drag drop like we did in the introduction. Okay, let's do a little jetpacking here, and let me show you the cargo hold. Now, it is getting a bit loud here because of the dampeners are activated on these APCs. And the reason for that is that you need to actually create some drag, which the game currently doesn't have. So that's why you want retro thrusters on that module. This is the actual force that brings the vehicle backwards. If you don't do that, then the vehicle will just land and stay here, maybe bang around and destroy something. Now, I have to note also the fact that you want to do that procedure with the handbrakes off. Okay, moving on, it has a few passenger seats, all the necessary life support systems. It has a cluster of reactors because when we were narrowing down the power necessities of the craft, we discovered that a single large reactor, which would provide the power necessary, uh, would be taking a lot of space inside of this, and we could actually supplement it with a cluster of 16 small reactors, which would actually make the craft fly without overloading, and ended up being lighter. Now from here you have access to the integrated cargo. This is the access to the um, crew shift. It has a cockpit that controls the opening, the lights, the exterior turrets, and so on. And we have this airlock here, in which you can actually access that station too, and the cockpit, which has a really good view of this beautiful African landscape that we're in. To the sides, it has two role-playing, let's say, bunk beds, which could be replaced by actually cryopods if you want. Down here it has like a secondary deck with role-playing shower and toilets. But let's go up. It has another twin airlock, which we don't need to close because we're in an atmosphere, which leads us to this overhang to supervise a cargo hold. And now this is the interesting part. This other airlock here actually leads all the way up, and this is the joining point in which you can attach this thing to a Calypso class destroyer, and so it can piggyback. The Calypso can jump into orbit of a planet, then detach this dropship with its payload, and the dropship can do the necessary trips back and forth to establish a base. Well, fellow space engineers, that has been all for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you really like it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have fun and keep playing.